everyone, I'm Heather. Today, shall we lightly discuss our May TBR? Ugh, it's polishing a turd now, it's all we can do. My library sent me a really passive-aggressive email basically saying, when the hell were you thinking of coming to get your holds? I've disappointed them. I've let them down. You know, they're letting me know they know I was raised better and I need to sort it out. I need to go and get them today. Not tomorrow, today. But the weather outside right now, my God. Hideous. Oh. Okay, for May, I'm ready to delve back into readathons. It's time. For March, I did Dewiethon and it was rewarding and I achieved things and I loved it and I found great books, but it's like takes it out of you, it's draining. So for April, I took off for readathons. I just read whatever the hell I wanted and now I'm ready. There's 2 readathons I want to do, but one of them more than the other one, because the other one, I think the whole point of it is that you're not supposed to stress yourself out. So I'll sort of like go hard into one of them and then give the other one like a mild touch every once in a while, just for fun. The first one is
Horror Mayhem.
A bunch of different channels host this one. I think one of the channels has actually gone MIA, like legit missing. But the other channels have sort of pulled together to make it happen. And one of them is Ollie at Criminolly. And I watch him a lot. So that's where I got this idea from. But I'll link all of the hosts below, even like the missing one that I think, you know, we should check on. Because are they okay? So the idea for Horror Mayhem this year is, I think, a focus on short stories and novellas, so like short-ish sort of books. But every channel I watched, people sort of like making their TBR for it, they just threw like all kinds of horror in, so I'm gonna use that as well, like as a dumping ground. Like I do this like subscription box, which is called the Abominable Book Box, and I get lots of horror books through it, and sometimes I'm not in the mood and they just sort of build up. So I think I'm gonna use this as a way to sort of power through those now with a focus. And also I've had to go and get my books from the library and now time is ticking on those, but luckily I think both of them will work for this. I'm gonna start it with, in the spirit of the readathon with tiny books, these like little Faber 90 classics things, which I love. The first one, The Victim by P.D. James, is maybe more of a thriller, if I'm honest, but it's like this guy who's trying to get revenge. Like someone took his wife or something like that, and he's like, you like get in the mind of like a guy who's gonna like, I don't know, get revenge and be a killer. Maybe a thriller more like, but I'm excited anyway. This one, however, I think this one is actually proper horror. It's something to do with a girl and a dollhouse. Like when she was a kid, she used to have like nightmares about her dollhouse, which was super creepy, and how none of the rooms seemed to match up with what the rooms should be. Like there were hidden rooms. And then like as an adult, she comes upon like a replica of it, or like the exact same thing, but as a real house in the woods. Creepy. Next one, McBain, Ghost. This one I got for free in the book hut. It's like a phone booth by the park where they just used to stick a bunch of books in there. It was like during the pandemic when all the bookshops were shut and you just like the only books you could find for browsing were in this like book hut, and they were just random crappy ones like this. But I got it and I think it's the only one actually left over in my house. I've either read the other ones or gotten rid of them thinking, what was I thinking? Why did I pull that? It was a crazy time. We were making bread. It was weird. But this one I do actually want to get to, and I think it's not supposed to be a horror. I think it's like mainly, what do you call this? Like a police procedural type thing, you know, like it's like crimes and stuff like that. But this one is actually to do with like a haunted house, so I think it might be like proper ghosts. Okay, next one, Psychic Teenage Bloodbath by Carl John Lee. Look at this cover. This cover is amazing. I got this one in the book box, like the Abominable Book Box. I don't think I would have purchased it on my own, just as its own book. But now that it's in my house, I feel like I should definitely read it. It's self-published, I think, which means it's going to meet one of the prompts for my Pop Sugar Reading Challenge for this year, which is 2 birds with 1 stone. It's about a girl who's in a coma, like something bad has happened to her, she's been attacked or something. I don't know what's happened. But now she's like locked in, like she's aware of things going on around her. She can like, you know, perceive different things, but she can't move, she can't see, she can't interact with anyone or the world or whatever. And she also can't sleep. So she goes just mad. She goes crazy, like inside her own mind. And she discovers she's got these like magical powers. I don't know what she's going to use her powers for. And I don't know what the powers are exactly, but I think it's going to be some sort of like mind control or like mind attack, a bit sort of like Carrie, do you know what I mean? And she's apparently going to use these powers for revenge. All the best books use things for revenge. I'm excited. But I am also aware that it's brutal stomach-churning violence, and also called an extreme horror novel. So I'm gonna give myself permission to nix this one at any point, just in case it gets too gruesome. Please don't judge me for these next two, but they're Fear Street books. Do you remember Fear Street? When I was a kid, I never read the Fear Street books. I read the Goosebumps books instead, and those for me were scary enough because I was scared of everything. But now, as a grown-up, I feel like I'm stronger now and I can take it on. So I've been going back to these like 90s things from when I was a kid that I missed out on by being a wimp. So the first one is The Perfect Date, about this guy. He's dating a girl who dies in a horrific accident. And then he moves on. Of course, why not? To another girl. He's dating someone new, but now he keeps being followed by like a scarred face, sort of like shadowy figure, which is probably the girlfriend, and she's like jealous and like pissed at him because he's totally moved on and left her, and now like horrible things start happening. The other one is Who Killed the Homecoming Queen? And this one, again, I think is about jealousy, as everything in the 90s was, to be fair. This girl has been voted homecoming queen and she's about to live up her whole best life, but now someone's trying to ruin her plans by murdering her at homecoming, etc. Another return to books from when I was a kid and too scared to read at the time is The Midnight Club by Christopher Pike. This one, I remember Christopher Pike being really scary and me being like, no, I can't do it. I'm too wimpy now. But when I went back to them to get the Christopher Pike ones, this one I think isn't actually scary. Am I wrong? I was sort of like reading the synopsis of it and everything, and it sounds a bit scary, but then someone told me it's just basically about a bunch of dying kids, and it's like more heartwarming than anything, which is gonna make me really pissed off if I read it and it's just basically about, I don't know, kids finding themselves before they die. You know what I mean? So I've also given myself permission to ditch this one at any point, but I hope it is actually scary because I do want to dig into Christopher Pike. Okay, next one is Cursed Bunny by Bora Chung. This one it does fit the brief because it's short stories, even though it's sort of long as a book. I think this is literary horror, and anyone who's seen me put this book on several thousand TBRs monthly since I got it a year ago, I apologize. I've not yet gotten to it, but I hope to do so this month. Loads of people have told me they loved it. Loads of people have told me it's super gross and I shouldn't bother. So I'm excited. I do quite like the idea of it. It's like horror and everything, but it uses very real horrors and cruelties of patriarchy, capitalism in modern society. Like, it's a thinker. It's a thinker horror, which I enjoy. I did buy it at Hay Festival, which is where I do all my thinking in the year. The Trees Grew Because I Bled There by Eric LaRocca. It's the next one. This one is also a short story collection that I got in the Abominable Book Box. I read his other one, or another one by him, Things Have Gotten Worse Since We Last Spoke, and I didn't really like it. I think it was sort of like, I don't know, overly gross and intense in a way that I just didn't like really like. I prefer, I think, a spookiness sort of horror, like witches and ghosts and stuff like that, to like gore, you know, like, you know, murderers and slashers and like grossness. But you know, I don't hate it, so I'll give it another go, especially because it was in the box and look, it's motherfucker signed, which is hella cool. We'll give that one a go. The Green Man of Ashwood Hall by Jacob Kerr. This one is another one I got in the book, and it's not stories, but it is like a novella because it's only about 200 pages long. This one, I believe, is a folk horror, which is my favorite kind of horror. It's based on a folk tale, right? And it takes place in the woods, in this like house that's sort of surrounded by woods. And there's a kid that lives there and she's like neglected by her family, and like she doesn't go to school and blah, blah, blah. And she ends up just sort of like wandering the grounds in the woods and everything. And there's like dark magic in the woods. And there's like a green man in the woods, you know, like that kind of shit. Brilliant. I'm so excited. The next couple don't really fit the brief, like they're not novellas or short stories or anything, but they are horror books and I do just really want to get to them this month, so I'm going to sort of cheat a bit and try to get to them. First one being Old Country by Matt Query and Harrison Query. This one, I believe, is also a folk horror. And it's something about a ranch house. Some people buy a ranch house and then they find out that actually the valley that the ranch house is in is cursed. Every season a spirit will manifest itself in increasingly disturbing ways, blah, blah, blah. It will kill you if you don't light a fire. Do you know what I mean? Like ancient sort of bad shit, you know, and you've got to like do certain ceremonial things to get rid of the bad shit. Like, it's a biggie, but I want to read it so bad. Okay, next one, Mina and the Dead by Amy McCall. This is a YA sort of vampire type book. Anyone, again, who's seen me put this on my TBR for several months in a row without actually reading it, I apologize. I do very much want to get to it this month. Okay, this is one that I just got from the library as part of my holds, Sundial by Katrina Ward. This one is to do with like a sort of dark magic type daughter. Like one of the kids in the family is like really into like, you know, evil stuff and like performing witchy sort of stuff. And the mother's worried about it. So the mother takes her away, but then we find out something's up with the mother as well. And it's like partially about sort of like mother-daughter bonding type stuff, but also about dark magic shit. Okay, and the last one I got from the library today is Sui in the Shadow. This one I got sort of partially for me because I like crap like this, but also something that I can read with my kid because it's a graphic novel and I think it's like middle grade type thing. It's about a girl who goes to a new school and then her shadow comes to life and is evil. And like the art looks really cute and cool. It looks a bit sort of like, it's giving me Wednesday vibes, you know what I mean? Which I'm for, and also which my kid is for. Okay, I think I need to be honest with myself about how this is less of a TBR and more of a pile of possibilities, if you will. Just gonna sort of like put the massive pile on the windowsill and come to it whenever I'm ready for another book. But aside from this MAYhem one, this Horror MAYhem readathon, I also want to do the Mental Health May readathon, which is run by Kim at Middle of the Book March and another person. I'll put both of them below as well. This one, they've set out like 4 words that you interpret yourself to sort of like do the prompts, but neither of them are making a TBR, and they're very much in their videos like, you know, it's very chill, like do it as you want to do it. If you don't want to have any rules while you do it, like don't, you know? So I'm going to sort of set up these words and sort of put them somewhere. And whenever I'm feeling like I'm not into this pile of possibilities, if you will, or whenever I'm just feeling some kind of way, I'm going to pick up one of these words. The words are disordered, caring, overcoming, discovery. So, you know, when I'm in some sort of mood and I like want to have just like a mood read and pick up something random because none of these are doing it for me, I'm going to be like, okay, discovery. What in my house or at the library or whatever can I find that will fit discovery and just help me, you know, like be chill about things and to not like take things too seriously? Do you know what I mean? Well, I feel like these 2 readathons go well together and I'm excited for May. If you've gotten this far, thank you for watching. Thank you. If you have any questions or comments for me, please let me know down below. I thrive on comment chat, me, for the rest of the week. If you have any thoughts about these books, if you've read them, if you've not read them, if you want to read them, if they suck, that's also very important information for me to have moving forward. Thank you. If you're going to do either of the readathons or you're sort of thinking about them or whatever, please let me know your thoughts. And I will see you maybe once again this week. I don't know what's cooking, but probably just next week.